Hello and welcome to week 3. Before I get started on the content, I have a couple of things that I need to just let you know about. So the first one is the exclamation points. I use them a lot. I go back and take them out for the most part in the content, but as far as your feedback goes, it's just going to be riddled with them. So I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. I just get enthusiastic. So I have done a fair amount of feedback already. I covered all the blogs that had been turned in already. So you should have gotten your feedback on your blog. Nice job. And then I've done about half the discussion. So I still have a little bit more to do today or tomorrow. And it's terrific. It's been really fun to. I mean, I read it as it comes up, but then to read it, in the context is of each individual person is really fun. So you've got a fair amount of feedback on the discussion this week. During the weeks for week 1 rather, during the weeks where you don't have an additional assignment beyond the discussion in the blog, you'll get most of your feedback in the discussion posts. When you have an assignment, then it winnows down a little bit. Let's see. Oh, Google Meet. So I got a little bit of feedback that people are interested in maybe doing a Google Meet. So this is completely, you do not have to do it if you'd like to come. So tomorrow, good Lord, no. Next Saturday, which would be February 6th at noon. Would you care to join me for lunch? I'm just going to open up a Google Meet. I'll put it in the content page. I'll put the link. And just come on by if you want to say hello, meet some classmates, have a chance to talk, and that'll be great. So from like 12 to 12:30, I'll have that room open. So feel free to drop by if you would like to do that. Another thing someone had mentioned when they posted their blog, they said, I'm sorry, I got confused by the time, whether it was Monday or Tuesday. And I was thinking to myself, it's Monday. I put it up as Monday. I know that it's Monday. And yet today, when I was building an assignment, I looked and I'm like, wait a minute. It says, yes, Monday, 11:59. But then underneath it says course Tuesday at like 1:54 or something like that. So don't worry about that. Basically, when it comes down to grading, I say that I don't accept late work. I prefer to know if you're going to miss everything. I need to know. Just shoot me an email. I mean, obviously emergencies happen. If you're a little bit late on something, it's not a huge deal. The trade-off is that you won't get feedback on it. I'll still look at it. I'll still grade it. But you're not going to get a lot of feedback. That's all. And it's, I like to go in when I go in. Now, I won't take anything off if I come in, even if it says it's late. You're racing me to grading, which is pretty good odds on your side. But every once in a while, you know what? Every once in a while, I'm all caught up and I have insomnia, and I'm like, it's 1:37 a.m. on a Tuesday, and let's bang this out. So you never know. All right. And so to the content. Here we go. This is Module 3. This is tools. I have just lists upon lists of different tools. The idea behind this is that we're just looking at these, exploring. If something is familiar to you and you already know about it and you already have a good idea of where it fits in your sort of, educational, whatever, your pedagogy, like where you can use it, then move on, go somewhere else. But if you're a beginner, these are a good place to start. So I'm just gonna walk you through them. Give you a little thumbnail of each of the tools. So we have some resources up front. There's AASL's Best Websites for Teaching and Learning, Jackman's 20 Free Tech Tools for Teachers, and We Are Teachers 350 plus amazing online learning resources. Yeah, you do not have to look at all those. So those are, if these are all familiar to you and you want to look for some new stuff, those are some nice jumping off points. So I've broken them down into 3.5 different types of tools. The first one is organizing your stuff. So under organize your stuff, I've got Google tools for educators. Frankly, you could spend the whole week here. There's a ton there. Some schools are Google schools, and if you're in a Google school, you've probably got a good idea about this. I also have Jaquetta Johnson, who's a really amazing. She's former school librarian. She's now like a diversity coordinator, but she has a live binder with all kinds of different resources for Google. So you can take a look at that. Some of them are a little bit dated because she's off getting her PhD now, but what's theirs is churse, as Spencer Tracy used to say. All right, then we've got Evernote, which is another sort of note-taking tool. People love it. People who are Evernote people really, they're huge fans. I've never gotten into it. I just kind of fell into Google and stayed there. But if you haven't set your allegiance to one or the other, give it a look. Digo is, what are they called? Social bookmarks is what we used to call them, but it's a way that you can sort of just keep track of things that you want to keep track of. It's just a tool for that. Padlet, you probably all know Padlet. That's a board, little blocks, very popular in education. It's used a lot. Live Binder is, I believe, a paid. You can access them for free, but I think you have to pay to build them. But a lot of school systems have them, and again, it's another organizational tool. Tumblr, you wouldn't think it, but Tumblr is actually a good place to sort of have your stuff. It's more social in that people can access it as well. And then Pinterest. I know it's not just for planning your wedding or your bathroom refurb. You can also use it to house your educational stuff. All right, then I have a subgroup of the organizational things, which is basically website hosts. Most schools have a web host that they want you to use. Like if you're a Google school, they're probably going to have you doing Google Sites, or they have, they've gone out and paid someone, and your library site is a part of the bigger picture. But if not, if you're allowed to independently create something, well, Google Sites I put in there, but Wix and Weebly are also free and quite user-friendly. Just be careful if you do build a website, make sure that it will work for your school. If you're doing it for school, make sure that it will work with your school system, because I had a terrible experience with that once. All right, the next one up is finding new stuff. So there's an article Brian Barrett wrote in Wired Magazine. It's time for an RSS revival. And RSS is a way of sort of aggregating basically websites that you like. It brings you their newest stuff. I used to use it for blogs a lot back in the day. Google had a great one. Google, what's it called? Was it called? Yeah, I don't remember. Google Reader, which they stopped doing. But it's just a way to get all the information brought to you rather than having to go out and look at it. Then I've got Flipboard, which is just pretty. If you're using a tablet, Flipboard it's like you're reading a magazine where everything has been curated for your interests. It's quite lovely. And then Reddit. Now, hear me out. Reddit can be horrifying. It's the technological encapsulation of a 15-year-old boy who plays video games all the time. I don't know. Interesting in the news, though, about Reddit and the GameStop, the whole stock market thing. But it is really a place where you can find any niche interest in there, and your students are using it, so you should be aware of it. So take a look there. And finally, we are librarians. We love books. So I put up Goodreads and library things as far as ways of keeping track of your books and finding new books. Now, Goodreads is the gold standard. It's very review heavy. They recommend. They have a lot of authors on there, a lot of freebies. It's really nice. It's a more social network kind of thing than library thing. But library thing is nice because it allows you to organize your books. You can have I'm going to come up with some verbs here in just a minute. You can basically put your collection in. You can scan your own personal books in there and just have a little like catalog of your books, which is really nice. I use library thing when I am putting together summer reading lists for my school, because you can just put them in there and you can tag them. So then say that you're just looking for, LGBTQIA, books that deal with that. You can have that as a tag and you click on that and there's like, oh, good. I have 18 of those books in there. Anyway, go play with it. It's a lot of fun. All right. So that is all. You're just going to go and look at stuff this week. Your 2 assignments are the discussion, and the discussion is going swimmingly. I enjoyed reading it very much for week 1. For one thing that I do want you to remember for Module 3 is that because you're going to be talking about tools, make sure that you do an individual post for each tool. You know, if you look at Reddit and you want to write about Reddit, and you also looked at Digo and you want to write about Digo, then make it two different posts and put a little heading for, if you're the first person to post on a topic, put a little heading there. Okay. I love how people have been, making it conversational. Keep up the good work. All right. So I will see you on the boards, but also possibly Saturday. All right. Have a great week.